I'm here with Ray Martin at the Unleash the Beast Mental Health Symposium here in Toowoomba.
Great title, isn't it? Unleash the Beast. Isn't that a good title?
Oh, it's fantastic. And I'm really so happy you've been able to bring your books, your message, being able to have the conversation around mental health here in Toowoomba. What compelled you to join Unleash the Beast?
Oh, I love the place. I've been here probably a dozen times, and I first came with R.M. Williams, who was one of the great men that I've met in my life, and he was a local. I just think that we're now aware that mental health is a serious, debilitating killer with some people, and we need to approach it sensibly. We need to approach it openly, and we need to stop treating people who have a mental health problem as though they've got two heads. We handle people who've got a cancer, and we let them go to work, and they take their drugs, and they get over the cancer. And mental health is the same, and we should treat it. If it's schizophrenia or bipolar or whatever, there we can live with those, we can manage those instead of putting them in a dark room and forgetting them. And so I think we need to become smart.
And
caring.
I think what I'm really compelled to talk to you about with your books is everyone knows you, right? You've been on Australian television. You've been you're normally the one interviewing.
Sorry about that.
You've been the one interviewing everyone, and yet bringing all your stories and understanding to everybody's minds. It really does show that it happens to everyone.
Oh yeah, no, it does, absolutely. In fact, over the 10,000 plus interviews that I talk about over the years, it's often the less famous people who inspire me. I'm not being cute about that. I mean, obviously people like Donald Bradman or Fred Hollows inspire me, but other people who just work in communities, or Quentin Kenahan, the young guy who died at 42 the other day, who had this brittle bone disease that Mike Willesee made famous, and he was in a wheelchair and sucking on oxygen for a tank for the last several years of his life, and I got to know him very well and took him out a lot and spent time with him, and but he didn't whinge. He used to get it, and I used to have a sore arm or a sore knee and think, oh, woe is me. And this bloke was living on borrowed time for 43 years of his life, and yet never whinged. And he used to say, don't talk about my disability, talk about my ability. And it's so true. And the same thing is, don't talk about someone's mental illness, talk about their positive side of life, talk about things they can do rather than things they can't do.
Well, and I find the level of strength it is to just be able to come out and talk about it as something we should be, being more supportive and positive about people really owning it, to be able to move forward and connect with their families and relationships, that this is what's going on, and they're help me is one of the biggest ways of getting through it.
And we disguise it. And the fact is that it is such an ever-present problem. It's so widespread. The great people from the Churchill, Sir Winston Churchill, and people like that who had their own disabilities and managed to cover it for a long time. People who have who have eating disorders who cover it. It's a terribly debilitating problem if you're hearing voices in your head and to get on with life. And yet this is what people who have anorexia and so on have. And similarly with schizophrenia, it's a bit like refugees, that refugees don't want to be refugees. They'd sooner live in Syria or live in China, where they're born or where their families are. The same as people don't want mental illness. They don't want it. They're not wallowing in their grief. They hate it. And so why should we add to the problems by not caring for them and by not giving them a chance? So what we're going to do is just accept it as a problem like cancer or like diabetes, and get on with life, and and let them live and let them enjoy and let them progress and succeed, which they can do, as long as we don't sort of labour them and label them.
So I'll wrap it up with you. Thank you so much. But if you were to, one last thing, if you were to see anything change, or what you hope would change around all of that from all the different people that you met, what would you like to see going forward?
Oh, quickly, we have to, politicians and public servants and next door neighbours have to accept it as an illness and treat it accordingly, and deal with it as an illness, not as some aberration and some problem. It's an illness that we just have to cope with and deal and get on with life. But the other thing is that I'd say to them and to anyone else who's facing it is just have a go. I mean, don't, the only person who can honestly, and it's tough as it is if you're ill, physically or mental, is to go and have a go. But have a go. You're the only one who can actually change it. All the psychiatrists in the world can maybe ease you through the problems, but you're the one who's going to finally beat it, and you're the one who's going to cope with it. And so, here am I sitting here, healthy and wise, but I'm convinced as I get older that it is about, you've got to do it. Now, we'll give you as much help as we can give you, and we'll make sure you get the pills, and we'll make sure that you're not set upon, and that there's no bias or bigotry around what you do. But you're going to have to go and do it, and you're going to have to get up out of that fetal position and go out and face the day, or you're going to go and have to do some exercise, or you're going to have to, etc. And so it's as hard as that is. Sorry, love. You're just going to have to do it, and that's right. One foot in front of the other, and have a go.
Well, thank you. That's an absolutely amazing message for today. I'm so glad we had a chat. Thank you, Ray.
Thanks, Sam. My pleasure, and good luck to all the people who are suffering, because I do know they're suffering, and let's give them a shoulder to lean on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.